everybody. John, One Over Outdoors. Alright, so been getting a lot of hits on the night bass videos at Lake Murray. A lot of great feedback. A lot of people wanting to know what I use. So I decided I was going to make a video. It's kind of hard to tell what I'm using at night. I mean, I can, tell you and try to show you as best I can at night, but a lot of times with the lighting, it's not going to pick up. So the other night, what I caught that big bass on was this right here. And all this is a little HTOX. You can get it at Academy. This would probably be like a KVD2. It's a smaller crankbait, shallow runner. That's what I caught that bass on. So I hadn't used it all year. Now the previous bass video I was using a KVD 2.5 neon shad, but a garfish decided he wanted it better than I did, and I wasn't gonna fight him for it. So some other fish you saw me catch were on one of these, and this is a square lip bomber, and it's basically a shad color. Basically a shad color as well. It really doesn't matter at night about the colors as much as it does in the daytime, because basically they're hitting off the silhouette. If you look at the lights, a lot of times the bait fish are up at the top, and so the bass or stripers or whatever will be below them. So it really doesn't matter what kind of color you're using, as long as it has some kind of flash, some kind of action to it. And that's another reason why I like running a shallow runner, is because that 2 to 4 feet is really good, and it doesn't really get below the fish unless you're fishing a deeper dock. I just so happened to be fishing, that dock was 25 foot deep where I caught that fish, but I had noticed that the fish were in that 2 foot. I mean, they were coming up towards the surface. Some other baits that I use that really work at night really good. This is a Berkeley power bait. This is a 12-inch worm, and I have a glass bead system. Now normally I'll run my weight. I think this is a 1/4 ounce glass bead. I usually use a brass washer, then another glass bead. And what that does is it allows it to click off the bottom. And so when you have that combination of weight, 2 glass beads, and a washer, which I don't have on here, but I normally do run one, it'll click off the bottom. So not only do you have a larger profile bait, but you have that noise, that vibration, and that's what the fish key in on. And people ask me, well, how do you fish a worm at night? Well, with this clicker system, when it stops clicking, set the hook, because something's grabbed it. Another bait that's really good at night is a frog, especially if you're working grass, a grass line along the bank. You notice fish are busting a grass line or busting along the shore. A frog, black and blue frog's really good, really great bait. It's really good. It's one of those after midnight baits. Once everything's calmed down, the water's calm, the wind's calmed down, it's really good. It's got some great action. And last but not least is a jig. And the reason why I use a jig, basically profile. And this is just it's got a built-in rattle to it, and I got a huge crawl trailer on it. And you're at night, once again, you're basically going for profile. Profile is your main thing. You don't want to use a smaller bait at night. The fish are going to have trouble picking it up. Any kind of 12-inch worm, as long as it's that black June bug, black and blue, purple. I've even got some KVD bullworms in here, and I mean they work great. I mean, I've got all these work really good at night. They have kind of a flat tail. It's kind of hollow, so it has some vibration as it's sinking to the bottom. But these are just some of the baits that I run. But mostly the ones you've seen me catch, the bass you've seen me catch in the videos, especially at night, have been caught on the shallow running crankbaits. We've had some bites on worm. Haven't had them like we've had in the past, and another thing with your crankbaits, especially at Lake Murray, if you have a healthy striper population, one of the things you want to do is not spend a lot of money on your crankbait. They get expensive. I kind of cheap out. I do run KVDs if I don't have anything else, but you know, this bait right here, I mean, this is a little $2 crankbait. I use it at water reed, and it's just a little flat shad, basically what it is. But I'm gonna tell you what, I've caught so many fish. It's actually missing one of the hooks off the back treble, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on them because, like I said, Lake Murray has a healthy striper population. They're going to be around the lights. You're going to catch a ton of them, and you don't really want to tear up your good crankbaits. So try to keep them under that $4 range, $3 range if you can, and buy a ton of them. You've got garfish coming in the lights. I lost that nice crankbait the other night on that, but you've got garfish coming in the lights. You've got stripers coming in the lights, bass. I mean, just about every kind of predatory fish comes into those lights. So you need to be prepared for that. Don't go out there with your best crankbait because, like I said, color really doesn't matter. But these are just some of the things I use. I will occasionally run a spinnerbait. I've got a ton of tackle here, but you know, if I'm going to run a spinnerbait at night, it's going to be like that. Just a double Colorado blade, black and red, and you want to stick to your larger profile bait. And that has 2 Colorado blades, puts off a lot of vibration. It's got that dark color. Fish are looking for a silhouette. And another thing, the types of docks I'm fishing, I fish 3 types of docks. I have direct light docks, which is what you saw me catch that bass on, which is a light that's hanging over the water. I have what I call a broadcast dock, or some kind of pole light that's in a yard. Maybe it's on a dock, but it puts out a lot of light around the area. It's not necessarily light that's, you know, shining directly in the water, but it's enough light to where the fish can look up and pick up the silhouette of something you're throwing. And then another one's the underwater lights. There's a lot of docks that have green underwater lights, and they're great. They get pounded a lot this time of year, a lot of night fishermen. But you really, you know, you can go to just about any nighttime lighted dock and catch fish. But not all of them are going to be as good as other ones. And so when I'm deciding docks this time of year, I'm looking at where is it in correlation to where fish would be. This time of year, water's getting hot. So fish are going to be hanging out in that deeper water. So I caught that bass in a 25-foot dock. It was 25 feet at the end of that dock. That whole little section I was fishing were deep water docks. And there was a lot of fish in there because they can hang out in that cooler water. And when it cools off at night, now I started off at that dock at the beginning of that night. At 10:50, I was at that dock fishing. Didn't get a bite. Went there at 1:30, fish are on it. So it's one of those things you don't want to give up on something and say, hey, there's no fish on it. Go back, run a pattern. So I have 5 or 6 set docks I fish. I'll go fish them. If I don't catch something, I'll start the pattern back over. Because like I said, those fish are going to come up at different times. You just don't know. But once you figure out their pattern, you can kind of pick up on it. So now I'll know from now on, I'm not going to hit that dock first. I'm going to go fish it after midnight. Fish move up at different times. But thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Go get you a shirt. Add us on Facebook. I'm more than happy to let you know what I use, where I'm fishing at, how I do things. Feel free to ask. I want people to catch fish. That's my main thing. And I want people to catch good fish. Another thing's rods. So this is a little DMK $17 bait caster off eBay. This thing's great. This is one of my frog rods. I got 50-pound braid on it. But the rod is a Berkeley Cherrywood HD. You can pick them up for $22 at Walmart. This is a Fluger. You saw me in the first night video. Fluger with the loose speed stick. Got a Black Max, a Boo Garcia with a Cherrywood HD. This one's an Academy brand rod, tournament choice, and it's an All-American rod. Some of the Santee videos that you've watched, Boo Garcia, Black Max, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on rod and reels to do this. If you look behind me, I mean, I've got a ton of stuff, and you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. Like I said, these rods, these Cherrywoods, are $22, and I hook 40 and 50-pound grass carp on them. But the main thing with doing this nighttime fishing is getting out there late. Like I said, I got out there at 10:30, 10:40. get out there late, let the lake die down, let people get off of it, let it start to cool down. They'll start turning over for the night. Fish will turn on, they'll move up, and be patient with them. Be patient with them. If you fish till sun up if you got to, but this time of year, don't let the heat keep you from going out and fishing. All fish bite. I mean, they have to eat. Just because it's nighttime, they don't stop eating. But once again, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. We can't thank y'all enough. We're going to keep the good videos coming. We got some great stuff coming for you. Head to the store, get you a shirt. We got hats coming. Like the Facebook page, add us. But thanks for watching.